Okay, there we are. Hello, Juan.
Hi, hello, Grisel. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm fine too. So tell me about the experience you had with the activity. What did you learn about this experience?
Well, in this activity, we had to read an article related to education, which had some complicated words. But once I reread the article again and again, I noticed that I understand what the author was talking about. Perhaps writing the summary of the article was kind of difficult for me because the article was has good information on it and that I could add to my summary. But then I remember the length of the summary, a 400-word summary, so I omit some information. Also, before I start the summary, I identify the main idea of the article and put this information in my own words. Then I try to identify important arguments by doing a second reading. This time I read more carefully to get the other important arguments, and finally I start the summary. But with this activity, I learned to follow the guidelines of a summary. I consider it an interesting article. It had good information on it, and the author had good and precise information. It was hard to summarize when the text is long, and every detail is important if you want to come up with a good article summary. On the other hand, to solve the identified problems in the future, I will skim the text to get the main idea, and after that, I'm going to start working on it. The text will need to be edited for accuracy, which means I will need to add further information where it's necessary. I will try to avoid any generalities and keep it concise and focused too. How about you?
Oh, in my case, well, working with this activity was challenging because the text of the article was long, but with good information. At first, I can say I struggled because uh, I didn't know how from where to start. I was confused at a certain moment to organize my own ideas based on the author's points of view. Writing and summarizing an article is a common task I apply with my own students. And with this activity, I realized all the things they go through to get a final summary. With a little precise, you can learn with a little practice, you can learn to read the article effectively with an eye for summary. Plan a successful summary and write it to comprehension. Moreover, I learned that I need to be aware of some aspects to have an effective summary. I can say that first you have to understand the context of the text and make sure you know what specifically the authors will be discussing or analyzing, um, and with and why the research of the topic matters. By doing this, you learn that arguments um, what arguments to pick out and analyze in your summary, right? There are aspects that I need to work with. I can say, for example, how to interpret the author's ideas. For example, I require highlighting main points discussed by the author, focused on key concepts and ideas that have been proposed, trying to connect them uh, back to that main idea that the authors have. forward in the beginning of the article. Additionally, I need to develop comprehension strategies through reading, which requires planning and setting up an environment of thinking, also of listening, and I would say discussion.
Wow, well done. Well, Juan, it's a pleasure to work with you, and I hope to see you in the next team.
All right, no, it was a great pleasure for me working with you too. Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye bye.
Bye.